his upcoming meeting with Donald Trump and his dad, Vladimir Putin, that they're going to have in that Russian state of Alaska. Caroline Levitt had to answer questions about that as well.
Sure. Thank you so much, Caroline. President Zelenskyy said moments ago that he thinks Russia is preparing for a new offensive on at least 3 different areas of the front line. Is this something that you could confirm based on U.S. intelligence? And if the president sees that Putin is indeed planning major new offensive or moving troops, would he call off the meeting on Friday?
I'm not in a position to confirm or deny or comment on that intel at this time.
She has no information about whether or not he's going to be able to call off this meeting. This new offensive, a new offensive by Vladimir Putin and Russian forces further into Ukraine, if that continues, because there's been reports of that. She has no answers. Okay, fine. Sometimes people don't have answers. They don't know what they're going to be doing. But there's more questions about this whole meeting that's supposed to take place. But she's standing there ready to answer them. Will she?
How does the president measure success coming out of this meeting? The president at times has suggested that Putin might be tapping him along. Is he prepared to walk out of this meeting if he senses that Putin is not serious about ending this war?
I think I just answered that question for you and what the goal and the expectation of the meeting is. And I won't jump ahead of any hypotheticals, and I'll leave it to the president to speak to all of you after the meeting, which I'm very confident he will.
I just answered that. I don't know anything. Matter of fact, the reason I don't know anything is because the president hasn't been told yet what he's supposed to do from Vladimir Putin. Because when they have these closed door meetings, Vladimir Putin tells him what he's going to do, and Donald Trump goes, okay. So there's no way. Honestly, it's the maybe first bit of honesty from Caroline Levitt. She has no idea what Donald Trump's going to do. She's not going to get ahead of him and talk about whatever red lines he may take for more offense forces going into the country. She has none of those answers because Donald Trump doesn't either. Donald Trump is going to this meeting to nod.
There are roughly 30,000 children from Ukraine who have reportedly been abducted and are kind of dispersed around Russia. They've been showing up on these websites for adoption. Is their return a red line for the president in any deal ending the war?
The administration is aware of these reports. I don't want to set red lines for the president on his behalf from this podium. However, the president did encourage Ukraine and Russia to speak directly to one another in terms of these humanitarian issues. And we have seen progress. You have seen prisoners of war swapped between these two countries as a result of these direct talks, as well as children, and that remains a concern, but it's one that Russia and Ukraine need to iron out together, which is why this president has encouraged them to speak.
Except this is a, 2-person meeting. He's encouraged them to speak, but she's still not going to set any red lines. Who cares about the abducted folks that we've seen reports of? Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is that she's not going to get ahead of this, because if she gets ahead of it and Donald Trump comes out with his head down and being followed on with a collar on his neck and Vladimir Putin tugging him and saying, "Heal you," then, she doesn't want to embarrass him further. So instead, she has no answers. But in case you guys did want to know, the president did speak about this when he was talking about how he's a tough guy and he's going to take over D.C. He did speak about what he's going to be doing with this meeting.
So this is really a feel-out meeting a little bit. And President Putin invited me to get involved. He wants to get involved. I believe he wants to get it over with. Now, I've said that a few times, and I've been disappointed, because I'd have like a great call with him, and then missiles would be lobbed into Kiev or some other place, and you'd have 60 people laying on a road dying. I said, that's cold, but it's a violent war. 5,000 to 7,000 people a week are dying. The money that's been spent and the death is incredible. It's the worst thing that's happened, by far the worst that's happened since World War II. So I'm going in to speak to Vladimir Putin. And I'm going to be telling him, you got to end this war. You got to end it. And he wasn't going to mess with me.
What he's trying to feel out is what Vladimir Putin's going to tell him to do. But don't worry. Donald Trump's approach to this meeting with Vladimir Putin is to say, you're going to end this war. Because, he hasn't said that yet. He also didn't say that he was going to end it on the first 24 hours of being president. How many months is president? Oh, and he's not an absolute failure, and he knows how to negotiate with folks. And that Vladimir Putin is one of his best friends, and he's going to listen to him. But every time more people are murdered, he goes, "That's cold, bro." That's your only answer. I feel like he's letting us know how incompetent he is, and he has no idea what he's doing. That his answers so far have been, "Oh, Vladdy, that's so cold what you did, but I'm gonna go and feel you out a little bit more again." One thing that Vladimir Putin does want, because don't forget, during the campaign, Donald Trump, one of the things that people were frustrated and upset about him pitching for ending this war is that Ukraine has to give away whatever it is that Russia has taken in their invasion.
The president has talked about land swaps between Russia and Ukraine. Vladimir Putin says he wants Russia to hold on to Russian-occupied territory in eastern Ukraine. Is the White House at all concerned about the messaging that potentially giving over or allowing for Russia to maintain its occupied territory in eastern Ukraine, what that might say to other U.S. adversaries like China?
Look, right now, the President of the United States has done more to end this war than his predecessor, Joe Biden, who allowed this war to take place. This war, don't forget, happened at the result of the weakness and the incompetence of the previous administration. And so the president inherited this conflict, and he is determined to end it. And it's a very complex and complicated situation. As for the details of the plans that have been kind of tossed back and forth, I won't get into those, and I will let the President of the United States discuss those plans with the President of Russia, with our European allies, and the President of Ukraine, Zelenskyy himself as well.
The question was, what signal is that going to give after the president of the United States, when he was campaigning, said he wants to give as much land away or force Volodymyr Zelenskyy to give away as much land as possible, what was already invaded and taken? What signal does that give to other countries like China? That was the question. The answer was, this is Joe Biden's fault. This is Donald Trump's petulant tantrum because there's been way too much coverage about how weak he is. This morning, I believe, jumped on his Truth Social to complain and bitch and moan about. Very unfair media, baby, is at work on my meeting with Putin, constantly quoting fired losers and really dumb people like John Bolton, who just said that even though the meeting is on American soil, quote, Putin has already won. What's that all about? We're winning on everything. The fake news is working overtime. No tax on overtime. If I got Moscow and Leningrad, If I got Moscow and Leningrad free as part of the deal with Russia, the fake news would say that I made a bad deal, but now they've been caught. Look at all the real news that's coming out about their corruption. They're sick and dishonest people who probably hate our country, but it doesn't matter because we're winning on everything. MAGA. What a crying little baby. I'm the president of the United States, and people are critical about the bad job that I'm doing and how people are seeing how I'm getting played and used and lied. And then as every promise that I said I'm going to make is broken by myself, they're saying bad things about me. I think they hate the country. No, they hate you because you're destroying the country. But that's his response. Everybody's unfair to me. You know, if your 3-year-old was talking like this, he'd be like, listen, calm down. Let Sally have the toy. You don't have to say everything is unfair. Relax, bro. I'm going to raise a little crybaby. But instead, we got a president that's damn near 80 years old. He might be 80 by now. Who cares? He's an old baby crying because people criticize him. If you keep criticizing me, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to send military to fight you because he's a baby. God, what a weakling. By the way, the old man also has no idea that, I don't know why he brought up Leningrad. It's not called that anymore, bro. Sleepy Joe.